start recording. But thank you for joining us for our barbecue and Thermomix cooking class. We know that the weather is getting better and entertaining, and having barbecues is definitely on our list at the moment. We'd love to know what you guys have been making with the Thermomix and whether or not that's been helping you with your barbecues. If you don't have a Thermomix already, then that's also fine. We hope that you find some recipe inspiration and some hints and tips along the way. We have roast beef. Yeah, had that last night. Shredded, delicious in rolls. We have lots of new offers and incredible things happening in the world of Thermomix at the moment. We have just announced our new host reward catalog, meaning that we have 4 new items. So if you haven't yet had a demonstration or you're looking to book in your next demonstration, you can get your hands on the vacuum seal containers. We also have cookie dough subscription. The thermo servers are still available. The baking mats are also still available. We have, help refreshing my memory, girls. What else have we got?
What did you say?
We also have the toolkit and the glider board as well. So I've got my glider board here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but they are now available as our host rewards. When you have a demonstration, whether someone purchases or not, you'll still be rewarded with either a discounted product or a free product. We also have just announced Earn 4 is back on the table, which means that you can join the team and work flexibly like us girls from wherever you are and earn your Thermomix in just 4 sales. If you've already got a Thermomix, your business is ready to go. We just need to get you the business kit, which is $150, but contains about $412 worth of products. So absolutely amazing. Come on board and do what we do and share the love of your Thermomix. I'm just going to let Tegan in. So tonight we are going to get started with the Korean barbecue pork salad. It is a recipe that we used to actually share as a demo dish. I have added it to my meal plan here, and I am a bit special at using my Thermomix backwards. We are all making a few different things, so you should get a few different hints and tips and a few different recipe ideas. So I have already got the barbecue on. I have already done my corn flour and water. Now I'm going to pop in my garlic and my ginger. For this recipe, I am leaving out the chili because the kids will be eating this one. So we're going to pop that in and we're going to turn, no, we're not going to chop that up yet. Going to add in 40 grams of soy sauce. We're using a gluten-free one because my daughter is celiac. We only just recently found out that she's celiac, and being able to make all of our things in the Thermomix has made the world of difference. We've got 50 grams of rice wine vinegar. Near enough is good enough. If you don't have a TM6, you can probably see that the Thermomix is weighing a little bit closer to the gram than the previous machine. So these ones are exactly to the gram. The previous machines were to 5 or 10 grams. This brown sugar that I'm putting in now is actually homemade. It is just raw sugar and molasses. Thanks to Ange for that inspiration because I had never made it before seeing her make it. And we're going with 40 grams of water. Love to know if you guys are making any pantry staples at all in your Thermomix. Pop that in the chat. We're going to pop the lid on and we're going to go for 20 seconds on speed 8. That's just going to blitz that. That might cut my sound out, but I'd love to know what kind of marinades are you making in your Thermomix, or what would you like to replace from the supermarket with being made? So one of the perks of being a consultant is that we do get multiple bowls and lots of incentives and gifts. We work very hard. We get paid very good commission. I wouldn't say we work hard. We probably play harder, but we receive different incentives along the way. I thought it was going to ask me to weigh it. So before I do that, I'm actually going to cook that for 2 minutes, 90 degrees and speed 1. Might jump over to, who was next? Is that Renee or Simone? One of you girls, whoever's ready. You go in with the salad. I'm just going to pop this on speed 1.
Hello, sorry, I've got children going to bed and everything, but I am here. I love making really fresh, delicious salads. I wasn't even really a salad person before my Thermomix, and it's just given me, I think it's more the ideas on Cookie Do. I love being able to type in ingredients, and if you haven't done this before, you can actually change your filters and you can search for different ingredients. So if you look in your cupboard or your fridge and you see you've got some carrots and broccoli, you can actually type those ingredients in to Cookie Do, and you can actually find different recipes including those ingredients. So that's a way of finding different salads and different things that you can serve on your barbecue. The other thing I really love to do is once you find a salad that you like, scroll down to the bottom and you'll see the collections that it came from, because that can also give you some other ideas to find different recipes. So what I'm going to do today is the 5-second broccoli salad. If you have not done this, it is such a game changer. It is so easy, and I'll show you how quick and easy this is. So I am going to my week, so I've saved it in here. Maybe pop in the chat box who is doing some meal planning, who actually uses this. I've got my plan for tomorrow. I've got my apricot chicken for tomorrow. So easy to find and so easy to do your shopping list and everything. So I wonder if anyone is actually using the meal plan, or if you need some help with that, don't hesitate to reach out and your consultant can help you with your meal planning. So I've got my 5-second traffic light salad, and it's a traffic light because it's got such beautiful ingredients in there. My other favorite thing about Cookie Do and using it on the screen is that I can scroll down and just get everything out. So I have a look at all the recipe, have a look at all the ingredients, and then I'm just going to go to start cooking. So I'm going to have some carrots, and I've just loosely chopped them up. And it says 200 grams, but it doesn't really matter, especially with salads like this. It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to have some capsicum, just roughly chopped, just to make sure it gets all under the blade. Doesn't have to be exact. I've got my broccoli just chopped up into the little florets. So far, carrot, capsicum, broccoli. I've got my apples. Did have a few more. I've just had my little hands just come on and take my apples. So now I've just got a couple of pieces left. And then I've got my sunflower seeds. But you could use anything. You could use whatever seeds you've got in your cupboard. That's absolutely fine. It says 30 grams. I've just got a few left in there. And then I've got my olive oil. So now I've just got the dressing. So that's all just thrown in there. Super easy. Oh, that's right. I've actually got some mint. So I had some left over. So I thought I'd just throw that in there because that's what I love about Cookie Do as well. You've got the flexibility that you can add and change some ingredients if you would like. So I'm just going to add in 25 grams of olive oil. And I've got my lemon juice, and I've got my Dijon and my honey just ready to go in here. So lemon juice, Dijon, honey, olive oil, beautiful dressing. And I'm just going to throw in some salt. Obviously, you can add as little as much as you like. Already done my Dijon, already done my honey, just a little bit of pepper. And then I'm just going to pop my lid on, and that's it. So easy. Literally 5 seconds, speed 4.5. And that is just going to chop. That's like 12 to 5-second salad. Pretty amazing. I wonder if anyone's made that. Has anyone popped in the chat box if you've made this one before? I've also added yogurt to this one, which is also really delicious, just to add a little bit of creaminess. But that is it. And that is so fresh. It's all raw ingredients, and it's just really super tasty to go on the side of any dish. So we have this on the side of steak, some sausages. If I've got any kind of meat, that would just be beautiful with that. Obviously, if you don't like something, add and replace it with other things, but super, super easy, 5 seconds. There you go.
Delicious. Thank you, Simone. You could also add in some seeds or something else on top of that. Sprinkle that on.
Oh, definitely.
Like, I know it's already crunchy, but just to give it a little bit more of a boost.
Definitely.
My marinade it still has 2 minutes of cooking time, so we might quickly go to Renee and get her going with the coleslaw.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to make the coleslaw, which is obviously one of the a basic recipe that you would generally take to a barbecue if you're asked to bring a salad. There's lots of other amazing salad recipes out there, like Simone has just showed us. But today for the coleslaw, I'm going to be using the cutter. So at the moment, the cutter is out of stock, but if you go onto our mix shop and go into the cutter, you can click on a registered button. That will then let you know when they come in stock. So they are starting to ship out to customers that have registered their interest in the past. So if you're wanting to get your hands on a cutter, I suggest that you get on there as quick as you can and register your interest for that. So for this one, the first few steps is weighing the ingredients, which I've already done. So I'm just going to skip past that and go down to step 2, which is going to be putting the cutter in. Whoops. Before I throw it across the kitchen. Now, our cutter has 2 sides to one blade. We've got a slicing side and a grating side. We're going to be using the slicing side to start with. There's a little shaft that goes inside and sits on over top of your blades, and then a separate bowl. So the bonus about using your cutter is you're actually keeping your Thermomix jug clean. So pop that in there. On goes the cutter. Yep, next bit, we're going to be putting in our cabbage. So just chunks of cabbage. At the top of the cutter, there's 2 separate parts. So a bigger part and a smaller part. So your pieces of cabbage and vegetables and fruit and things like that should be big enough to fit through that hole. So it's just asked me now, turn it to speed 4 for 30 seconds, and then I'll pop the cabbage through. Using the little pushy here to help the ingredients go down.
It's cut Renee's sound out, but I'd love to know if you already have a cutter, pop it in the chat, or if it's something that you've got your eyes on.
So the way we used to make like a coleslaw in our Thermomix was we would just give it a rough chop and like a rustic kind of cut. This is slicing. So this is, if you can see here, the consistency of the cabbage.
Very much nicer. Diane's
So
got one.
Tip that into a separate bowl.
Diane, what have you used it for?
What have I used it for?
Oh, sorry. No, Diane said that she has
sorry.
one. But yeah, you can go. What else have you used yours for?
It's amazing for, I've used a lot for potatoes. If you're doing like a potato bake, onions for the barbecue, potatoes for the barbecue, just grating cheese, grating carrots, anything, because your bonus is you've got a thin side and a thick side to your slicing and grating. So you've got 4 different consistencies that you can get from your cutter.
Yeah.
So we've got that one, and then we're going in with some red onion.
That's okay, Diane. Hopefully we can inspire you to get using it. What have you used yours for, Tegan?
So 7 seconds to slice half an onion. No tears. It's all inside the bowl. That's another bonus of it too, because it's all inside. You don't get those flavours coming out.
And evenly sliced. I can never slice an onion like right down to that last bit evenly. They're always like big bit, little bit, big bit, little bit.
Yeah. So again, just into the big bowl. So now it's asking me to take off the blade and spin it over to the grating side. sure it's the right one. So now I've just got a large carrot going in. I'm just going to grate that thick grate.
I'd love to know, how long do you guys think this would take to do by hand? Ange and I actually did a bit of a challenge between the two of us a little while back when we first got the cutter, and I was on the grater and she was using the Thermomix with the cutter, and we made a zucchini slice. It was hilarious and super messy on my behalf. There was crap everywhere. Trying to grate an onion, carrot really quickly, and the zucchini. It was a bit of a disaster, but it was lots of fun. Fair to say I did not win.
I'm just slicing up the apple now. I just didn't want it to go brown before I cut it before the class. I'm just doing the apple now. Apple wedges. We're keeping that one on grating.
I never put apple in mine. Probably should.
In your coleslaw?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's a nice crunch.
Bit of a sweetness to it.
Yeah. All righty.
Oh, apple makes it. You're missing out.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to give it a try. I'd be like you though, Simone. My kids would eat it before I got it into the bowl.
Yeah.
So that was 5 seconds to grate the apple, which is pretty cool. So the carrot's still in there too.
Oh, pineapple in the coleslaw.
Oh, yum.
Sounds good. Apples.
Alrighty. So that's all going into the bowl.
I saw that Skinny Mix's Thai pineapple fried rice.
That's
Oh.
delicious.
So
Sounds
good.
interesting.
I haven't tried it, but I saw it and thought, oh, that would be really yummy.
It's yummy. And as just like the bowl and the blade and everything like that of your Thermomix, the cutter can go in the dishwasher. So no extra things to wash up. Just pop it straight in the dishwasher, quick and easy. Remove the cutter. A reminder when you're using your cutter, take out the shaft. The recipe will tell you to take out the shaft, but if you're using your cutter manually, just remember to take out the shaft. They can be replaced, but hands up. We were talking about this the other night. I've done it twice.
Twice? Oh, good. I don't feel so bad.
All right. So it just says add all that to a bowl, give it a quick stir, put in some salt and pepper and some mayonnaise. So, Em, do you want to go back to you and then we'll go back to the mayo after that?
Yeah, that would be great. My pork is ready. Thanks, Renee. My
No
pork
worries.
is ready to be marinated. So what I have done here is it's really important that when you are weighing something with your machine to make sure you've got a bowl in there as well. I'm just going to let Lee in. It's really, like I said, it's really important to have a bowl in. You don't want to be putting any thing on the arms when you're weighing something without that bowl because it can cause damage. We don't want that. So it's now asking to weigh approximately 100 grams. Now my scales aren't up on my screen, but I can access them through the recipe by pressing on the 3 little dots. I'm just going to pour in 100 grams or thereabouts of that marinade over that pork. This smells so yummy. I'm going to put that aside in a bowl. Near enough is close enough. So going to then put that pork into a bit of foil. I'll just grab some tongs. Hands up if you have heard about our new sensor. Let me know if you've heard about the sensor. Pop it in the chat. Just going to spin that around and make sure that's fully coated. So then that meat there is going to, no, Diane hasn't. I wonder if you've heard of our old accessory, which was called the meter. Pop that in the chat if you've heard of that. I'm just going
I've got that handy.
Got that handy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just got hers. They are a game changer, but they do not connect to the Thermomix. They connect to your phone, but they don't connect to the Thermomix. So the sensor is ultimately exactly the same as the meter, but it just has increased capabilities with use of the Thermomix. So it works in with the Thermomix. Have one, but interested in the sensor. Well, hopefully I can show you a little bit more about that, Tegan. So what I have done here is popped my meat. Just see if you can see that there. So I've got my meat on my foil, and then I've got my sensor here. So this is a thermometer probe that is Bluetooth connected to my Thermomix, and it's also connected to my phone. So I'm going to just pop that into the fattest part of the meat. It doesn't really matter where. It has a
We
little
can't
bit of
really see you because you're talking in the one that's facing your Thermomix.
I'm talking in the
I'm just
wrong
trying to work out how to spotlight you though, but I can't do it.
I think I need to spotlight this one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't work it out either.
Tech is not my thing. Sorry guys, is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Awesome. So I'm just popping this sensor into the meat, and I'll just show you here. Has a notch on it. Oh, can you see that there? And that needs to be in the meat. So that's kind of where the sensor is, and grabs that temperature from there. So I'm just going to bundle that up. I'm just leaving it open a little bit at the top, but I don't want those juices to run away. So I want the steam to escape, but I don't want the juices to run away. So that is ready to go onto my barbecue. But before I do that, I'm just going to quickly wipe my hands. Again, perks of being a consultant. I did actually earn that Thermomix, that sensor. I'm just going to spotlight back on this Thermomix. So now what I'm going to do is jump out of that recipe and slide across to our sensor. So these modes come out onto the machine automatically. Clicking on here for the temperature. Now it brings up a whole heap of different things. So you can use the sensor manually. You can use it for things like cake and bread. You can also use it for any kind of meat. So for tonight, we're using it for pork. I'm going with a roast, and I'm going with a loin. I would like it medium well, and that's going to send that information straight to my sensor, and it will keep it in mind up here on the Thermomix. So it will estimate the time and all of that, but it will also stay up here in my little drop-down box. So I've got my timer, my sensor, my Thermomix, my sensor, and my timer. So I can then just click back over here to use my machine manually, or I can go back and find my recipe, which is bookmarked here. So I'm going to go and pop that into the barbecue, and we'll go over to Renee, who's going to make the mayo.
Okay. So first up, before we get started, I want you to pop in the chat box, have you made mayonnaise? Be honest here, there's no judgment. Have you made mayonnaise? Have you made aioli? Yes, Paula. Yes, Tegan. Yes, Simone. Need to do it again. Yes, Di. Great to hear. Alrighty. Mayonnaise sometimes can be one of those recipes people go, oh no, I'm going to mess it up. But if you follow the instructions, it is really simple. So I've flicked back again. I'll go back to the start of the recipe. You touch down the little arrow on the recipe. Oh, you prefer the condensed milk one, Alice? That's interesting. I haven't made that one. Is that a cookie dough recipe? Okay, so I've pre-weighed my oil, so I can just flick forward. So you can skip over those first few steps of the recipe just by going into your main menu and touching on the step where you want to start. So 1 egg at room temperature, a teaspoon of lemon juice or teaspoon of vinegar, 1 to 2 teaspoons of mustard. It's optional to taste. I think it adds a really nice flavour to the mayonnaise.
Emma, can you spotlight Renee? I can't spotlight her, sorry.
I don't know how to.
Yeah, it's not giving me access. Or put it back on speaking. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. 2 pinches of ground black pepper. And these are our salt and pepper shakers from the mix shop as well. So you just got batteries inside, push on the top buttons here, battery operated, which are really cool. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now on goes your lid. And in the next step, it says down the bottom, turn the speed selector to speed 4. Meanwhile, follow the next step. So I've pre-weighed my oil. Now, the recipe for mayonnaise asks for grapeseed oil. I don't often buy grapeseed oil because it is quite expensive. I use a mild olive oil, just the bottle from Aldi. Doesn't have a strong taste. Do not use extra virgin olive oil for your mayonnaise because you will mess it up. So turn it to speed 4. Then a message pops up on the screen to tell me to slowly pour the oil onto the mixing bowl lid and to let it trickle down. Now, you have a look at the front of your measuring cup. There's gaps underneath and the lid is designed to tilt down a little bit. So you're pouring the oil and it's seeping in underneath into the bowl and emulsifying with those ingredients inside.
While you're doing that, Alice replied before. She said condensed milk, vinegar, dry mustard powder, and she's used it since she was a teenager and now she's over 60. So that's amazing.
Oh, wow. Maybe you could create that recipe on the recipe community, Alice, and transfer it over to your Thermomix.
That recipe
Definitely.
is delicious. I grew up having that recipe mayonnaise at home as well. When you just mix it in a shaker.
Oh. Well, I wonder whether you can create the recipe on Recipe Community using your own homemade condensed milk.
Could make your condensed milk first and then just mix it in the Thermomix.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've done that too. It's yum.
Right, so there's about 20 seconds left. I'm going to let that keep going, just to let that last little bit of oil drizzle in. Can you use your spatula on the top to give it a bit of an extra hand? Now, in the tips on this recipe, it tells you how to make your garlic mayonnaise, so your aioli. The only difference is you just blitz up a couple of cloves of garlic at the very start before you do everything else, and you've got yourself some homemade aioli.
Delicious.
Beautiful creamy mayonnaise. So I'm just going to use a couple of tablespoons of that into the coleslaw, and then we're going to have that on burgers tomorrow night for dinner.
Yum.
The other bonus about making your own mayonnaise and sauces and aiolis and things like that is you know the ingredients that are going into it. There's no hidden preservatives or additives or hidden, ingredients that you don't know about. And it's also a huge cost saver. So if you think about the jars and packets you've got in your cupboard, in your fridge, have a think about trying to make some of those things and saving money.
Awesome.
That's it for me.
That looks delicious. Thank you.
Yeah.
Quick and easy. So while Renee was doing that, I'm just gonna spotlight myself again. I think this is the right one. Yep. So while Renee was doing that, I have popped the dressing aside, or the marinade, sorry, aside into a little bowl. I've got some water in here with some rice that was pre-rinsed. Up in here, I have some cabbage and some broccoli and some bok choy. And then I have my egg. So it's going to all steam while that rice cooks for how long? Done that. Pop for my dish. I've done that. Done that. Secure lid. 13 minutes. So we're going to go over to Ange and she's going to show us some classic beef burgers.
Hello, everybody. So like everyone else, I've put the recipe into my week today so that it's ready for me to use. So I'm just going to click on that and press start cooking. Now normally I make a few variations to this recipe. So I'm going to do it pretty much how the recipe says today, just to show you how the Thermomix can mince your meat. But as I go, I'll explain how I alter things normally. The other thing is too, it does require breadcrumbs. So if you don't have any breadcrumbs in your Thermomix, you can use your quick chop mode on your TM6 to make yourself some fresh breadcrumbs before you start. So the first step is asking for just an onion, 150 grams of brown onion. I don't weigh it, I just use a large onion or 2 small onions, and I've also put in some parsley in there too. All right, 2 sprigs of parsley, which it's asking for, and it doesn't ask for carrot, but if you like to smuggle some veggies into your food, then this is the perfect time to do that as well. So I'm popping in some carrot. And then just 20 grams of olive oil as well. That'll do. On with our lid. And we're just going to chop that up for 2 seconds on speed 7.
While you're doing that, Renee, Lee sent me a message to say, how long does mayonnaise last? How long would you say it lasts for? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. I don't think there's any real rule with the mayonnaise. I find that at least a week, sometimes 2. It depends. But because it's got the egg in it, the other thing you can do is use a cooked egg mayonnaise, which cooks the egg. I kind of just use like looking at the jar method or the container and just smelling it really, just to make sure it still smells okay and it doesn't look like it's separated or formed any funky stuff on the inside of your bottle.
So that's all chopped up, and all I'm going to do now is turn that to speed 1, and we're just cooking that for 3 minutes on 100 degrees just to cook down the onion and the carrot. Did you want to continue, Em, while this is cooking, or do you want me to talk about some other things? You're on mute.
Just quickly on them, back to the mayonnaise, I just use these like containers. I've just got a mayo and an aioli one, and I just wash them out in hot soapy water or in the dishwasher and then refill them. They've got like the squeezy ends on them. It's up to you how you want to store it, but I just find that's easiest to use.
And then the kids don't think it's homemade and they actually eat it.
Right, it's got mayo written on it. Or you can just trick them and get an old mayonnaise bottle.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Mayonnaise in there.
That's what I do with like jam and peanut butter and that kind of stuff. I just put it into the old packaging and they don't have any idea.
Perfect.
You keep going, Ange, because this is steaming unless I move over to my other Thermomix, but I will just
that's all right. So normally when I think of a barbecue, the traditional things that most people tend to cook is either burgers and sausages. But the other thing that I like to do sometimes is kebabs or skewers. So these barbecue skewers from the mix shop are perfect because they enable you to slide the contents on your skewer off onto your plate just by manoeuvring the little glider there, and it will slide everything off. So you don't get any splinters in your food. And these are amazing. They come in a packet of 4. So tell me in the chat what you like to cook on the barbecue.
We used them the other night when we had a barbecue, and the kids were like, oh, how do I get my meat off? And I was like, literally just slide it, and it glided off so easily. And then Billy was like, ooh, this is fancy. But because they're not round as well, because they're flat, they help to keep the contents on when you're cooking. So when you're rotating them on the barbecue, the contents will stay on, it won't spin with the food. And the skewers, I know myself with the wooden ones, unless you soak them, they usually catch fire or burn, and then your whole dinner's ruined. So
So the other thing you could do is make yourself some homemade sausages as well. Has anybody ever made homemade sausages before? No? So these are, I've not done it myself for a very long time. The last time I did it was when I was in trade school, so it's probably 20 years now. I feel so old saying that. But anyway, 20 years ago. But they are super easy to make. So it's just, you could essentially use the meat from a burger, and just using the sausage attachment that is available from the mix shop as well, you can use that to insert the meat into your sausage casings, which you can buy from the butcher as well. So it just means that you have a lot of control over what you're putting in. I know it's very difficult, Emma, to get gluten-free sausages or sausages without the sulfites and stuff in them as well. So it just makes it easier to control that if you have any allergies to certain things that may be present in a sausage from the supermarket. All right, I'll just grab myself a bowl. It's just asking me now to remove the vegetables. They've just cooked down nice and soft in there. So just removing those from the Thermomix bowl.
Before you go on, Ange, or while you do that, I just want to quickly interrupt. my Thermomix is beeping to say that our pork is ready. So this would go off on my phone as well if I had connected it to my phone. I haven't for this instance, but given that I'm with my Thermomix, it's telling me to go take that meat off. So I'm just going to run and grab that meat off the barbecue, and I'll be back.
Cool. All right, so I have just removed my vegetables from my Thermomix bowl, and now it's asking me to pop into the bowl 350 grams of chuck steak. Now, I don't know about you, but I find it very difficult to find chuck steak in our coals down here. So I have just replaced this with rump, just cut all the fat off it so it's nice and lean. And this is being cut up into 2 centimetre cubes and partially frozen. So this is where I normally alter the recipe, and instead of buying the steak like this, I just buy mince, and then it enables me to skip past all of this part and just mix the mince in through the vegetables. All right, so just popping our lid on. Has anybody made their own mince in the Thermomix before? Okay, so this is because the Thermomix is still quite hot, it's not allowing me to use the turbo setting. So what I'm going to do here is just change my jugs over so it's nice and cold, and then I will be able to continue on with this recipe. All right. So we're just using our turbo mode and 1 second increments, 6 to 8 times, depending on how fine you like your mince chopped up.
Well, and the advantage is, isn't it, that if you've got your chuck or your rump, then you know exactly what meat it is, because you sometimes when you buy mince, you don't know if there's any hidden goodness in there that the butchers like to.
So that's just chopped that up really
fine.
fine.
Amazing.
So I'm just going to transfer. So now I have to transfer that out and do that 2 more times with the remaining meat that is here. So if you are rushed for time, you can replace that with just using pre-done meats. It will save you a little bit of time in mincing your own. I actually don't have a kilo here though, so I'm just going to do a little bit less. Will cut me out again.
Amazing. So yeah, have a think about what you've done, what you could do from scratch, especially for your barbecue. Sometimes it just takes that little bit of having a look on Cookie Do, seeing if you would like to try something new, and you know, you might always do the same ingredients and the same recipes all the time, but it's always really good to follow people on socials. I know after this, Emma will send an email, so you'll get our socials as well, because we're constantly putting up some ideas and tips for recipes as well. So we're always here to help, because sometimes you find that you're cooking the same thing all the time, but it's good to try something new every now and then.
All right. So with the turbo mode, you will notice that the arms don't open until you move on to the next step, or until you press the home button to go back to your home screen. It's just a safety mechanism in case you've got something hot in there that you've turboed, because it is full power and it will go up to the lid. So it just allows everything to settle before you open up the lid. All right. So all of that beautiful homemade mince, it's just asking me to pop all of that back into the jug now. So I've popped all that back in. So that's 900 grams of, I'm just going to quickly wash my hands.
I can't wait to see Emma's.
900 grams of meat in there, and then we're going in with some breadcrumbs. So like I said before, making your own breadcrumbs is another cost saver, and it also eliminates the anti-caking agents and things like that. So these are breadcrumbs that I've dried out, just saving the scraps from my bread, and then I blitz them up and keep them in a container. So I'm just adding in 40 grams of breadcrumbs.
We do that too, and especially with having our daughter gluten-free, we keep the ends of the bread, and then we also add in some almonds when we are blitzing our bread, as well as a little bit of parmesan, some garlic powder, onion powder, and mixed herbs, and they are delicious breadcrumbs.
Yep.
Oh, I never thought to add almonds to it.
Yeah,
very
almonds
yummy.
are gummy in it. So the recipe is asking for 2 egg yolks, so I don't bother doing that because I don't like to have the egg whites left over, so I just pop in 1 whole egg instead.
Why would it just be the yolks and not the white?
Pardon?
Why would they ask for just the yolk and not the white for this? Like it's not as loose as the white.
I guess it's just, yeah, it's not going to be as loose as adding the white into it, but I don't mind that.
I usually just do a full egg. That's interesting. I never noticed that was too. Yeah.
So then just a spoonful of Dijon mustard as well. And then just some salt and pepper. Oh, it's just run out. A little bit more out of here. The salt and some pepper. Sure. And then we're going back in with our reserved vegetable mix as well. So that's the onion, carrot, and parsley. And then I'm just popping the lid on, and it's asking me to insert the spatula through the hole in the lid to help stir it as it goes. So when you're doing that, only use the spatula that comes with your Thermomix. See the guard on here enables you to put your spatula through the hole safely, and then you're not going to hit the blades as you're stirring your food. So the reason we're doing this is to help keep the food in contact with the blade so that everything mixes through nice and evenly. All right, so we're just going 15 seconds to speed 4 on reverse. So that is my burger mince all mixed up nicely. So the next step for this is just dividing it into the size burger patties that you're wanting. I'm going to do it in like a wrist hole size so we can have that on our barbecue in a couple of days. But if you were making this into hamburgers, you'd want to have them quite large. So yeah, that's our burger. So you do that, put them into your patties, and then you pop them into the fridge just to set before you cook them for a little bit. And you can use these, cook these using your meter if you're unsure of when your burger would be cooked, or you could use the new sensor that comes out as well, like Emma has for her pork. So that's it.
Thanks, Ange. I love a good burger. If you guys are also looking for different recipes, the pork and apple rissoles from Skinny Mixes are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to move over to Simone. We'll get you to do the chimichurri because my egg, I put a few too many veggies in my varoma and my egg just needs a little bit longer. So we'll go over to Simone. I will spotlight you.
Thank you, Em. I love doing these cooking classes because now we are prepping our dinner for tomorrow, which makes life easy, especially when most of us are working tomorrow. That's the other beauty of jumping on board. Most of us have other jobs on the side, and this is our little side business. So you have the beauty of choosing your hours and having the flexibility to work from home when you would like. So I've already done the traffic light salad. If you missed that one, that is so nice and fresh and delicious and ready to go in the fridge for tomorrow. And then now I'm just going to make some chimichurri. This is my husband's favorite little side dish to have with his steak. So if you haven't done this before, highly recommend. So I'll bring you over a little bit closer so you can see. So this is just really fresh, really delicious. You can add as much jalapenos as well as you like. So you can make it a bit spicy if you like your spice. So I'm just going to start cooking, and I'm just changing my recipe, so that's fine. It says to measure my red wine vinegar and my olive oil. So I've just done that already just to save a little bit of time, but remembering that you can use your scales as well. So there's my red wine vinegar, olive oil, and I'm setting my jug aside. Then I'm going to add my salt in there. So I'm going to blend up all the rest of the ingredients. I've got my garlic cloves. If you, like me and my family, love garlic, if you have the blade cover peeler, that can go on top, and all you need to do is throw in your unpeeled garlics. I probably put in, just break them up from the bulb, and then I use a blade cover peeler to peel all the garlic for me, and I just keep them in the freezer, and they stay fresh and keep all the flavour and everything in there. So you can definitely do that if you want to save some time as well. I've got my red onion, just chopped. 180 grams. I'm just sort of probably going to do half of the recipe anyway, because it's just us eating it. Jalapenos, I'm not into spice, and some of the kids might have some of this tomorrow too, so I'm not adding it, but you can definitely. I've got my fresh herbs here, so I've got some parsley, coriander, and I just happen to have some mint, so I'm just throwing that in as well. But whatever you've got in your garden or whatever you've got in your fridge, absolutely feel free to throw that in there. So that's really, really delicious. So it says, yeah, I've got my parsley, and then I'm just going to blitz that up super quickly in 5 seconds on speed 8. So that is all fine. I'm going to scrape down the sides because that blitzed all that up. There. Really, really delicious. So I'm just going to scrape down the sides to get ready for the sauce. I have a think about what side you like to do, and sometimes you think, oh yeah, I'm just going to cook a steak, or I'm going to cook something on the barbecue quickly, but it is super easy to add a little bit of deliciousness on the side as well. So same method as what Renee was doing. So 2 minutes, I'm going to start that, and then while it's chopping, I'm going to pour in my olive oil and my red wine vinegar. So because it's got the little holes on there, it's going to slowly drip in there, and it's going to mix all that together. Really, really yummy. I'm just going to make sure my red wine vinegar is all mixed in there as well. I'm adding the sauce in the top, the olive oil and the red wine vinegar, and that is slowly dripping in there. And let's just make sure, because I did less ingredients, I'm just going to keep that like that. And next, and then I can just press my dial. I'm not going to add any more than that, just because I've halved my ingredients. And that will be ready. It really doesn't take long to make my fresh little side dish. So there's a nice little sauce to go on the side. Another side dish we love is just to do a nice risotto, like a simple risotto. There's a tomato risotto that you can make, which is a really nice thing to have on the side. The risotto verde is also really nice to have on the side of your meat, your barbecue meat. And also barbecue onions we do quite a bit as well, and that cooks really lovely with beer and yeah, lots of beautiful ingredients in there, so you can do that as well. So definitely have a look. There's also barbecue collections. So when you're searching on Cookie Do, you can change it, rather than recipes, you can change it to collections, and you can search for different barbecue things, or you can do a little filter for barbecue as well. So hopefully that gives you a couple of ideas and things to try, but that is my chimichurri ready for tomorrow. Super easy.
Another thing,
Yeah,
all good. Sorry, I thought I was
right,
on, but I'm not. Something I have never ever tried. Definitely one to add to the list.
Ah, good.
Yeah. So my salad is done. I just popped my egg in there. I'm just stirring that all around. So I've got some rice in here. I've got my veggies that I steamed. So there was broccoli, bok choy, and cabbage. The egg is in there, the rice, capsicum, just fresh capsicum, it's not steamed, and some bean shoots, as well as a little bit of the dressing from earlier. as well as the pan juice or the meat juices that I caught in the foil for that salad. So I will plate that up and show that after. But while I am here,
just spotlight you, honey.
Oh, not spotlighted. Thank you.
Okay.
Me. How's that? Better? So we can just skip straight past all that. Let's just actually go to cancel recipe. Yes. So I wanted to show you guys, we spoke a little bit before about using the cutter, and I'm going to show you how we use it for slicing potatoes. So this is something that we tend to do a lot of. Every time we have a barbecue, the kids always ask, can we have barbecue chips? My answer is always yes, because it's so quick and easy. So I just have 4 potatoes here. As long as they fit in here, it doesn't matter, you don't need to cut them. So I like to put more than one in at a time if I can. I have it on the slicing side. So as Renee mentioned earlier, we've got the grating and the slicing side. And I'm just going to go for thick. So working backwards. Should have got someone to time that because that was so quick. 4 potatoes in less than, I'd probably say less than 20 seconds. So that is our barbecue potatoes. So they can just go on the barbecue with a little bit of oil and the seasoning that I'm going to make now. So I'll set them aside. I'll pop them in some water and we'll probably have them tomorrow night. Do not forget to take out your shaft. This is everyone's #1 problem. So don't forget to take that out. Otherwise you will end up with it chopped up. Now I'm going to make the Skinny Mix's Ace of All barbecue rub. It is something that we like to put on top of our barbecue chips and things like potato bake, anything like that that needs a seasoning. I use this all the time. So just grab my so it is just a whole heap of different spice mixes. If you haven't, excuse me for 2 seconds. Yes, mate.
Can we sleep in the couch because we're being silly?
No, I think you need to go see Daddy, darling. Go ask Daddy. He'll help you. Sorry, guys. Flexibility. So this is just smoked paprika, and I always say near enough is good enough. It's supposed to be 1.5, whatever's there is there. So that was the smoked paprika, and now we're using the sweet paprika. To be honest, half the time I always just use one or the other. I don't tend to use half of half. I like half and half. We're going in with some cumin powder. I don't quite have enough, but whatever here will do. I think someone was saying about measuring garlic with love. I do the same with herbs and spices. This is some garlic powder, so just go in with a little bit of that. I think that's about a teaspoon. And same with some onion powder. Is anyone already making their own herbs and spices and mixes, rubs, meat rubs, anything like that? We've got some mustard powder. Again, measuring with love because I don't have the recipe in front of me.
That's what I was going to mention as well about like making your own tomato sauce and barbecue sauce. I know a few consultants make that. That's really fun.
Yeah. That was a little bit of allspice and cayenne pepper. And I'm just going to pop in the rest of whatever salt it is that we have here. Totally winging it. The beauty of the cutter too was that I could just take that out and my bowl was still clean, which is awesome. And I had a second bowl because consultant perks, always. And I'm just going to go for 10 seconds, speed 10. This gets used all the time in this house, and the container is empty. So that is how quick and easy that was. Makes quite a lot. You don't actually need that much. I'm probably not going to put that in there because I will make a mess everywhere and lose half of it. I'll do that when I am more prepared and can do it properly. But I will post a photo on my socials of all of this. I will pop it all together and post a photo. But thank you so much for joining us. That is everything. So, Ange, do you want to show us your burgers?
So what I did was put a bowl on top of my Thermomix bowl and used my scales to weigh these out. So they're 80-gram portions. And just a little tip when you're rolling them, just wet your hands and roll them, and then you don't get the stickiness on your hands either. So just makes it easier to roll them out.
I didn't know that. That's a big thing.
Great tip. Yeah. Same when you're making things like chicken Kievs and that as well. If your hands are a bit moist, it stops it from sticking.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Good
it
for
from us.
when you're doing bliss balls too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great idea.
Simone, light bulb moment.
See.
That's it from us. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have loved what you have seen, please feel free to reach out and find out a little bit more information about joining our team, buying a Thermomix, hosting your demo. As I mentioned at the start, there is so much on offer at the moment, and we are always looking for more people to join our team. So reach out. We will send out an email with the recording from tonight, as well as all of the recipes and the links to the girls' socials. We also have our back to school class happening next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. The link for that will also be in the email that you'll receive over the next few days. We'd love to know what other classes you would like to see, so please let us know that as well. But that's it from us. We hope you've enjoyed the night, and thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
I love that our dinner is pretty much done.
How good is it? Yeah, I've got one.
Yeah, lunch. I'm going to have my salad for lunch.
Recording.
Easy.